Welcome to the Daily. It's Monday, April 26th. I'm Jason Sagini, and with me is Simon Borg. And it's Monday, Simon, so let's get to the headliners. The first person in the headlines today is probably for the wrong reasons. It's got to be Kei Kamara. How does he miss that on the goal line?
The Sun newspaper in the UK is calling it the miss of the century. I think it's a combination of the ball having a weird twirl about it, slick conditions, and unfortunately for Kei, he wakes up to this tomorrow.
If anything, I think Kei Kamara vindicated Steve Zakuani after Steve Zakuani's miss of the century last year. So Steve Zakuani's sleeping a little better today. Kei Kamara maybe losing a little sleep. Moving on to other people in the headlines, you got to look at Sigi Schmid. People are talking about Sigi Schmid and the different lineups he chose for a two-game road trip. A Thursday-Sunday game at FC Dallas, then at Toronto FC. That's always a tough trip for MLS teams to make. Even when they do a Thursday-Sunday and one of those is a home game, we've seen a lot of teams slip up in that Thursday-Sunday. So what did you think about what Sigi did with his lineups?
Well, I think they come away with it with 1 point out of 6. So people are easily, the knee-jerk reaction is to criticize what's Schmidt's decision. But I think in a league where teams criticize the depth of their rosters, Sigi Schmid used his roster to perfection. He almost came away with 3 points on Thursday, and that game in Toronto should have been in hand. Those players on the field were managing that game. Yeah,
I mean, if anything, I would say that it should have been in hand because Brad Evans probably should have done better on that header earlier. But that goes into what Sigi did with the lineup, and he's got Lundberg and Brad Evans as his forwards. So to me, that's a lineup decision right there, no?
Yeah, but the guys on the field, they did the job. I mean, you knock those in, and let's be honest, Seattle gave it away. They gave away that game.
Sure. Despite the 1 point in 2 games on the road, you think Seattle is probably one of the top teams in MLS this year?
Absolutely. I think over 5 weekends, what we've seen is a group of 5 teams that have risen to the top. LA, KC, Columbus, Salt Lake, and Seattle. We have another 5 teams that we shouldn't really expect much from them, honestly. Toronto, DC, Philly, San Jose, Chivas, USA. Then you have a bunch of teams there in the middle that are the middling teams. Some weeks they're going to look like world beaters. I think other weeks they're going to look terrible. But I think the league is already showing us that there's these compartments now.
Interesting. I might put New York in that top class. I think they've been so much better organized this year. They're really playing with more of a purpose, bringing in some good players. I think that Nielsen kid on the left side looked good considering he only had 2 days of practice with the team, still helped them produce a little bit offensively.
I mean, fair enough, but I think even Bakke says that 12 points out of 15, it's a surprise for him. And the impression you get from their games is almost like they've stolen a few results that they really didn't deserve.
And you think there's another team who should be in this mix of the top teams?
Absolutely. In my opinion, Colorado is that team. This week they did, to me, the most impressive thing. Gary Smith brings a 5-man midfield, introduces Mehdi Belushi as an attacking midfield, free roaming, and gives the element of creativity that they needed as a team. And they dominated that game against New England, and they looked really good doing it. And I think in the next couple of weeks, I think they found their tactical system. If they can keep it over the next couple of weeks, I think we might start to include them in the elite status.
Let me ask you something, though. Are they not doing themselves a disservice by taking Omar Cummings away from the goal, a guy who's proven to be a great strike partner for Connor Casey?
I mean, I think you look at Cummings, his biggest asset is his speed. Leave him out there on the right. Let him take advantage of that speed, and I think he can be productive for them.
It'll be interesting. A lot of teams have kind of started to play this 4-5-1 formation. As much as people want to say that Schelotto's a forward and Columbus plays a 4-4-2, essentially Schelotto is that roaming midfielder. FC Dallas playing the same thing with Jeff Cunningham. We've seen Chicago now playing that with McBride or Collins John. So it's really becoming a trend in the league to play the 4-5-1.
It's a clear trend, and you have to have the right players as well. Having the guys who come through the midfield really makes teams unpredictable. So we're seeing it with Chicago. And also, having it gives you the opportunity to have that creative influence who can roam the field, who doesn't have to stick to one position. I think it's very advantageous to teams that are using it.
Okay. Well, you guys let us know what you think about the 4-5-1 or anything else we talked about or anything else you saw this weekend. Email us at thedaily@mlssoccer.com. That's all for today. We'll be back tomorrow.